Are you running out of space? Well, just dig a few extra hundreds of square feet. It sounds crazy, but it's the reality of Kala, a TikToker who quickly gained the interest of millions after she began showing her progress and overall plan of digging into her basement. This has been going on for over a year as she documents her steps, but she recently gained more concern than ever before. In fact, it was enough concern for officials to deem some places in her own home unsafe. So who is Kala, and why is this story more talked about than ever before? Well, we're going to have to go back all the way to August of 2022 because Kala might have the most committed goal and it'll honestly blow you away. She actually created a tunnel in her home in Virginia that has its own air ventilation system, which spans 30 feet long, and the main chamber is 22 meters below the surface of her home. Imagine if she did this in New York or Toronto and rented out the space, because she could charge thousands a month. But as the story goes, we get deeper and deeper into who she really is and why so many are skeptical of her practices. Kala wasn't only good at digging, she really thought it all out and built a working minecart to transfer the debris and rocks in and out of her system. The definition of a girl boss right there. And she's been posting videos, mostly her doing the work, since October of 2022. And because her story is quite wild and the public keep wanting to know what will happen next, it's easily helped her gain over 500,000 followers on the app and even has tens of millions of views on her mining video. In September of 2023, she actually filmed an update after a year of basically playing Minecraft in real life. That's where she showed her functioning elevator to lift material out of the mine and laid concrete blocks to establish the entrance of her tunnel. And the whole point was to build a storm shelter. And as time went on, things just kept getting more and more advanced. She posted dozens of videos which showed her wearing pearls and perfectly done nails, paired with a construction hat. She'd drill into underground rocks, pour concrete, even install support beams. It also didn't seem like Kala was the first person to do this, because there's a term used known as hobby tunneling, and it's a passion for underground digging. Other stories have been viral in the past, and a subreddit has even been populated with tons of people who are also as interested in this hobby as Kala. However, Kala seems to be the first person who's shared such detailed and real-time footage of her project thanks to modern social media and technology. Besides being unqualified to be doing what she's doing, she's also disclosed issues she's run into, which has been a bit frightening for viewers because of safety concerns. There were exposed wiring and electrical equipment, crumbling structures, and even a fire broke out in her underground space, which is frightening and of course a cause of concern. As her views grew, so did the criticism, and as intrigued and curious some viewers are, others are more worried. Her project grew with interest as NBC even interviewed her in November, and Kala had to clarify her project was not a doomsday bunker. She stated, "I'm not really a prepper or concerned about that kind of thing at all, but I just thought it would be neat to have like a little protective shelter area. So I started working on that. And also, it's a challenge, and I live for challenges. Keeps me preoccupied and keeps me entertained." However, NBC News also reported that Kala declined to share and get into specific details about any permits she may have obtained, but she said she was following local regulations for the building of emergency shelters, but we'll get into that in just a bit. But things were not always smooth sailing, as she revealed at one point. She had to make a sump basin to pump the groundwater from a spring she contoured, and she also shared her progress and added there is still a lot of work to do, but she shared how she's still having a blast after more than a year of hard and physical labor. Plus, many have given her feedback from tradespeople on TikTok about mining or electrical systems, and a lot of these people identify themselves as geologists and civil engineers who've expressed their concerns. Some worry her tunneling would create a possible sinkhole, or she would be affected by veins of naturally occurring asbestos in Fairfax County, where she's located. Plus, because it's the internet, some even doubt her progress and believe she's just been trolling her audience the entire time. In December of 2023, Kala updated her viewers with some information that some thought would never come or even expected to happen, because she claimed that local authorities wanted to investigate her tunnel, which ultimately meant her efforts needed to be shut down. Kala, on the other hand, didn't seem to take this too harshly, because this news was able to allow her to have content for, story time, and revealing this news gained more attention on her account as well. She ultimately seemed seemed unfazed and said it shouldn't be too hard to get the permits she needs for approval. Imagine like you were her neighbor though, and just had no idea what was going on, because that's exactly how it was for her neighbors, who majority are Central American migrants or first-generation immigrants. Investigative reporter Ara Bagato shared this news and also stated that many of Kala's neighbors were afraid to report what was going on out of fear of being deported by immigration authorities, and also added that they are really worried about their health and safety, especially after hearing a ton of noise and random shaking. Yeah, honestly, this would be a nightmare for me as well. But that's not all. This reporter also shared that Kala received a stop work order, but not as recently, back in 2012. Due to another unrelated project, Kala's home has seen numerous inspections from local officials over the last decade. Really curious to know what that was all about. But the local officials had to stop Kala's tunnel because of unsafe structure, and Kala and everyone else who was living at the home was ordered to vacate the main floor because they said it had been structurally compromised by the tunnel below. This reporter really dug up as much dirt as Kala did, because she also was able to allege that Kala knew it was against the law to start this tunneling construction project without the help of a contractor. And if you're wondering what she's gonna do with all that rock and debris, she wants to build a castle tower with all that material. She really thinks of it all. Personally, I would have given up this project after about 10 minutes of trying. Judging by her efforts into her tunnel, I think her castle tower is going to exceed all expectations. A few days ago though, when Ara Bagato broke the news about Kala's neighbor, she also posted that she uncovered a document issued by the town of Herndon on December 7th that the structure and residential structure was indeed unsafe. Plus, because they were no longer allowed to be on that lower floor, they actually had to wait until a licensed engineer could evaluate the full project and determine if it was safe or not. Although her username on TikTok is engineer.everything, Kala is actually not a formal engineer, according to NBC News. Instead, she studied business and finance in school, spent most of her professional life working in information technology. This really made some viewers take a step back, because it is a little deceptive to call yourself an engineer when you're not. Plus, on social media, like, I'm sure some kid is gonna take this and try running their own digging project, and they're obviously likely just as unqualified as Kala. And with the added safety concerns and now the neighbor's claims, things started to become more of a problem than what she may have initially hoped. As of now, the future of Kala's tunneling seems to be a little unknown. She did tell NBC News that she previously constructed a 4-story addition to the back of her home, so it's not quite uncommon for her to start random projects like this. But with all the criticism, many of her viewers thought she was responding because during an interview, she mentioned how it doesn't take much time for her to pick up a skill, and how she can often learn skills just by doing it with minimal instruction. Which seems like she's talking about those who called her out for not really being an engineer. What do you think? When it comes to safety, she said she wasn't concerned about it or the structural stability. This was because 99.9% of everything has gone according to plan and according to her engineering. At least that's what she says. And as of the neighbor's claims, Kala said she's only building under her property and not digging under her neighbors' homes. She also described her relationship with her neighbors as respectful, and that they were well aware of her crazy antics. She also took extra precautions to avoid complaints like minimizing surface vibrations while digging. This project did not come free. Far from it, because Kala said she has spent around $50,000 on her project so far, and a lot of her time, as she estimated, she would have to spend at least another 6 months to complete her tunnel, but obviously that will have to be extended because of this investigation. Plus, in the world of TikTok, she actually isn't alone on doing odd construction on her home, because there is a TikToker who is known as the Eel Pit Guy, who literally has an eel pit in his basement. It's honestly impressive, and I'm sure Ursula would love to get her hand in that pit. No big deal for the eel guy, whose real name is Nick Tobler, because he decided to create this project after the new home he moved into had an unused rainwater cistern that had been sitting under a manhole cover in his garage. So all all he needed was a cinder block, pathway, and a water filter for his new aquarium. When he first found the hole, he thought to himself he was sitting in an empty 2 feet of water, which was basically a fish pond. So how was he not going to use the free pond under his garage? The pit is 288 square feet and holds around 4,000 gallons of water. And at the time of his interview, he had 10 eels living in it. But don't be alarmed, because Nick said that the eels were peaceful to anything that doesn't fit in their mouth. So if you ever get shrunken by a machine, run far from the eel pit. Anyways, he gets his followers to help name out his pets, and an example of a few are Neil, Bathtub, and Crunchwrap Supreme. But just like Kala, this wasn't without criticism, as many believe eels shouldn't be kept in someone's home, let alone under a garage. Another example is these parents on TikTok who both used to work for Disney on Ice as performers. Have you seen them? They decided to make their kids' dreams come true by having an indoor skating rink where they would sing Disney songs and dance on ice. That's a great project that didn't require or cause any safety concerns. Well, at least not to the extent of Kala. Crazy how now social media is able to show others how creative everyone is. Anyway, have you seen any of these crazy construction projects on TikTok or heard about Kala before? I'm really curious if there's anyone you've watched who has even crazier projects than these users. Let me know. And of course, if you made it this far, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.